And let me have the chat opened. Great. One camera here. Chat open. Hello, Becca. Welcome, welcome. Okay. So today, active learning strategies in virtual classrooms, engaging students through project-based. This is a game changing, guys. Project-based and collaborative learning. Project-based is a game-changing strategy for engaging your students to your classes. It's amazing. And today, hopefully, we will be able, well, you will be able to redesign a traditional activity using project-based or using gamification. So pay attention to the content, ask the questions you need. Remember, you have the chat open. And if anyone has just entered and I didn't mention your name or anything, or I said hi, say hi in the chat right now so that I can write down your name on my attendance list. So let's go. So by the end of this lesson, you will be able to understand how active learning can be applied in online environments, identify best practices to keep students engaged, and redesign, I hope we have the chance, redesign a traditional activity for virtual learning. In fact, I brought an exercise for those who are working in classrooms, and it's an amazing exercise to turn basically any lesson into a gaming experience. And your students, I know, are gonna love it, especially if they are children. Then we can discuss what to do if they're teenagers, what to do if they're adults, because it's different. I'll show you another online activity that I have, and that activity has it's a gaming way to practice present continuous to talk about the future and predictions. So let's go. First, what is active learning? I took the information from the University of Minnesota. So YouTube, I'm quoting, I'm not stealing. Do not ban this video, please. So any approach to instruction in which all students are asked to engage in the learning process. It's not just the typical teacher talks, student listens. It's not that typical scenario. In this case, you make the student part of the learning process. Today, we will discuss what activities promote this active learning. And this is amazing, especially in this year, 2025. Why? Because as you know, most of our students, especially if you're working in classrooms, are extremely hyperactive. You also have students who may probably have maybe a attention disorder, and that's something important to bear in mind during your classes. Hello, Drea. Let me write down your name. That's also something important to bear in mind when planning your classes, because of course you have students who are really quiet, just paying attention, like the ideal, perfect student. But at the same time, you may have students who are extremely hyperactive. And what can I do with this hyperactivity? And you may also have students who are, they love competing. So what can I do to channel this energy they have? Hello, Nita. Let me write down your name. So there are different activities that you can use or that you can go to here. Of course, I'm not going to talk about all of them. Some of them you may know, okay? For example, peer review. The problem with peer review is that, at least in our country, Venezuelan context, hello, Ricardo, we don't know how to properly use it. Why? Because our culture is the type that, oh, my friend is having a terrible time. I know he did terrible. He did terribly, sorry, in the evaluation, or I know that his or her presentation was a total mess, but he needs the points. So 20 over 20. No, no. In other countries, that culture does not, a culture, if you can call it, does not exist. In other countries, people are extremely sincere. If your presentation was a mess, you won't get the whole grade. You get some points deduced from what you were doing, your presentation, which is what's supposed to be done. Some others you already know, like groups evaluations, interactive lecture, mostly if you are the kind of professor who likes to include art, in this case, theater. Maybe you have some students of yours acting out some of the things that another partner is reading, and that's funny. That helps with hyperactive students, of course. Role playing, of course, for the dialogues. So some of this, them. And of course, they go from simple to complex. Again, shout out to the University of Minnesota for compiling all this content. So, making time for active learning. Hello, Suge. Let me write you down. Some people believe that active learning takes most of the time in my class. I cannot because I have this planning. And let me be serious here. Well, I'm always serious, but let me talk about this. Let me talk about the white elephant in the room. We sadly know that in our country, Venezuela, the educational system is absolutely destroyed, and it gets even more destroyed every day. Last week, in the other subject at the beginning, I shared an article which talked about how terrible the level of Venezuelan students is. That article showed that young students, they had an average of 8 points out of 20 in verbal skills, and around the same, around 7 over 20 in math skills. And some people have shared the article. I think Sophie shared the article. She found it. She shared it on Facebook. I think it was you, Sophie, who shared it. And I like when I show something and my students are like, hey, boom, they posted on Facebook like, hey, everyone, see this? Look at what's happening. Because I don't see people talking about this. How can you not feel bad, feel terrible about our educational system, regardless of you having plans of migrating out of the country, regardless of it? How are we not more noisy about this problem? Active learning is one of the things that can help, one of the things that can or could help to solve this problem. Without the active learning, look at what we can do, how to incorporate it into our classes. I didn't do this. Here's the credits adapted from Thinking Together, Collaborative Learning in Sciences, Harvard University, Derek Bock Center. So I know that those who work at high schools in Venezuela or schools, I know they give you this extremely old and outdated planning program. And you need to follow this. You need to have like 6 moments, like, dude, that's not how real classes work. It's 2025. And I understand that some of you are having problems with your authorities because you want to be that beacon of change, but they don't allow you to. And I appreciate that you're trying to be the best version of teachers that you can be. Just keep on trying. One day, someone at any high school, someone will notice and someone will say, hey, you know what? This teacher is right. This typical planning that we have, like contenido procedimental, contenido actividad, that doesn't work. That doesn't work. And you know it the moment you have the chance to leave the country, work in the educational system of another country, and then they tell you you need to plan your classes, and then they give you an extremely simplified version. Or sometimes they don't give you any like format to follow. They tell you, for example, we need your classes to be designed using the scaffolding method that we have worked a lot. And that's it. That's it. Like in the British Council, they taught us, hey, use scaffolding for your classes. That's it. That's the only thing. Freedom, creative freedom. That's amazing. Gave my classes today and I did that. That's the idea. So check this out. Advanced organizing, of course, first, organize your students and everything you need to do. 10 or 12-minute lecture. 3 4-minute activity, short game. 10 or 12-minute lecture. You see, you are just including games or short activities in that span of time. And I know, teacher, 3 or 4 minutes, you know how students are? Once your students get used to the way you work, they will be craving for those 3 to 4 or 6-minute activities to play because it's amazing. And if you include the lesson, whatever you're teaching, into a game, trust me, your students will never forget what you taught them. They might forget your name, but they will never forget what you taught them. And that's the idea. That's the idea. Now, project-based learning in virtual spaces. First, project-based learning takes off or removes an enormous part of the pressure that as a teacher you have. Normally, classes are teacher explains, teacher corrects, teacher does everything. Students just participate. Project-based learning is student-centered. You explain, of course, what they have to do, and your students, they have to do basically everything. Basically everything. It is easy to adapt when you're talking about real-world challenges. Today, we will do something about it. Cross-disciplinary, because you can integrate different disciplines. And I'm not only talking about English teaching. I know this subject is about the English teaching aspect, but you can also include a physical activity in this. Process-oriented. You need to follow a process, and in this case, your students will learn or are supposed to learn through that process, following some steps and trying to take your classes by the hand so that you don't just go anywhere with them and you successfully finish whatever you're supposed to teach them. Now, tips for online use. When we're talking about project-based learning, we will see some videos in a minute. First, use collaborative tools like Google Docs. We'll see a video about that today. Trello. I mentioned Trello in the class when I was talking about the tools that we can use. Maybe some of you included Trello in the digital toolbox, maybe. In my case, I used Trello when I was in the British Council for my students to design some boards. Right now, I'm using Trello, but not for teaching or exercises. I'm using I'm using Trello with the English Academy I work for, this English Bites, because we used to have like this old format in Excel Online where we took notes about any problem we had with any student during the academy, if a student needed to pay for the next set of classes. Now we did that through Trello. I write down the information on Trello, it gets stocked. Let me quickly show you how Trello looks. Just share that. My coordinator reads it. Let me just quickly show you how this professional use of Trello looks like. This is Trello, but not for gaming. This is for working space. For example, these are the other teachers. This is teacher Carla. You met her last session. And for example, these two, I click here. And of course, I can add information about the students. They can tell me when the students are not connecting. You see, this is Trello for, let's say, corporate uses. But it can be used, I don't know if you guys included it on your digital toolbox, but it can be used for our classes. For example, this student, she, yeah, she canceled the class because she had problems in her job. So this is Trello for corporate uses. And it can be used for teaching as well. I hope one of you used it in or include it in your digital toolbox. Let me share the screen again. Where were we? Here. Okay. And there are some others that we can also talk about them. Now, scaffold project stages with check-in. Remember, scaffold means like go step by step. From the scaffolding technique, most of you were my students that semester when I explained the scaffolding technique. Even teacher Carla joined us and talked about scaffolding technique. Some of you have been using scaffolding and you have been loving it, so you know what it is. So you have to, of course, scaffold your projects the step by step. This class is designed through scaffolding. And of course, you create roles and responsibilities. In some games or in some projects, one student is like the expert and the other students are just listen and they learn. So you can take advantage of, there's always that student in your classroom that knows more English than the others because he's going to private classes or something. Well, you take advantage of that. Hello, Jenny. Let me write your name. Let's continue. So, collaborative learning online. There are different types of collaborative learning. There are different techniques. There are different strategies. There are different tools that you can use for students to collaborate with their learning and make them engaged to the class. You have like jigsaw methods, peer teaching activities. This is basically, for example, let me give you a quick example here. Let's say that I choose, for example, I choose Jaxeli, whose brother lives in Germany. And I'll tell Jaxeli, okay, Jaxeli, you are going to gather as much information as you can about Germany, the places to live, to study, to work. So next class, you're going to show it to your friends, to the group. So Jax in this case will be like the expert. She will be teaching her friends. The kitty is here. Let me show her, because if I don't show her, you know, she will start biting the cables. Come here, you fat ass. Say hello to my little friend. You know how she is. She loves seeing herself in the camera. That's all. And if I don't show her, she starts biting the cable. So I have to do it. Okay, now you can go. Go. That's it. Oh my God. Those who own cats, you know. You know. You see, now she's sleeping on my bed. Okay. So that's an example of a peer teaching activity. Oh no, I have cat hair on my mouth. Okay. Problem-centered collaborative learning activities. You can give students case studies. And I have done this in previous classes. I show a case and you give me the examples of what you would do. Today, we will have an example of this as well to work in the class. Role playing. Remember, teacher Carla mentioned you can have your student to be her or his most beloved artist. Okay, I can have Beji, you're going to be Jungkook. And then I'm going to ask you questions. So Beji knows even Jungkook's blood type. And she can talk about him like as if she was him. And then that way we can practice WH questions. Just an example. So for the Jigsaw collaborative teaching strategy, you can do it in different groups. For every group, you design an expert. That expert is, in this case, let's say, okay, in this group is Beji and she will talk about Jungkook. This group is Jaxeli. She would talk about her favorite German TV series. She's in love with all those German men. So she would talk about that favorite TV series because she's the one who knows about it. This one, the expert is Sophie because she knows everything about Lasso. She would talk about Lasso because she knows about it, blah, blah, blah. The expert in group 4 is going to be Hidai because she has worked with translations and she will talk about her experiences and she will teach her friends. So this is an example of a jigsaw collaborative strategy, teaching strategy. Then you gather your students and they talk about it. You can use, for example, in Zoom, we can use the groups for Zoom. I hope it works today. My computer does not collapse, but I'll use it today, or at least I will try to use it today. I hope my computer doesn't crash then. And you can do, and then they talk separately, then they come back and they talk about what they did during their time meeting alone. Think, pair, share, collaborative learning teaching technique. This is another example. This is Padlet, which I hope some of you have included in the teaching tool, the digital teaching tool. This is an example. You can have a student propose any topic. This one is crazy, but for example, the elephant flies, but we don't. Of course, this is children. This is children. But it's good. So you can talk about it. Some people can talk about how different are Lay's potato chips to Doritos and whatever. And you can discuss about that compare them with Pringles, and then you practice comparative. You practice the superlative. That's another way. So you propose a subject, a theme, a topic, sorry, and you think in pairs, you share, and people teach each other whatever they're teaching or whatever they need to talk about or whatever they know about a given topic. Now, why it works? For those who are watching the class on, sorry. Kind of accurate. So why it works? It's cutting off. Hidai says that she's having problems hearing me with, or maybe with the video. Is it only her or everyone? Ah, no, it's everyone. Okay. Maybe it's my connection. Let me know. Let me know when the sound is better, because it tends to happen. Long time ago, but it tends to happen. Let me know whenever you listen correctly. Is it better now? Normal now? Thank you, Hidai. Perfect. So why it works? It encourages peer learning, of course. And I always use Veggie for this example. Cook. She wants everyone to know about her favorite artist and future husband, for example. She wished, but okay. So she is extremely engaged with the activity, and of course, she wants to teach her friends. And her job is to make her friends interested in her artist as well. So it encourages people to know. It shows Veggie how she can catch the attention of all her friends. It builds communication skills, which is extremely necessary for a teacher how to communicate effectively. It promotes, sorry, accountability. I am sharing my screen. Oh my God, can everyone see my screen? Because I'm sharing it. Sophie says she doesn't see it. Can you see my screen?
Yes, or your background or the presentation, I don't know.
Yeah, it's you, Sophie. You're joking about it, but in my toolbox, I actually added Namjoon. Okay. A girl with curly hair, yes, yes, yes. Okay. Well, it promotes accountability. Why? Because the information Veggie is delivering, she needs to make it realistic. So if she makes mistakes, she needs to understand that it was her mistake, not her friends. What tools can you use? Like I mentioned, breakout rooms. Zoom has them now. Microsoft Teams included them. Now that Skype has sadly disappeared, Microsoft Teams is trying to copy or get close to Zoom, and they included the breakout rooms. I haven't used them because when I teach my private classes, I use Microsoft Teams. My private classes, I work with individual students. With the academy, I use Zoom. In my academy, I use Zoom. And I haven't used the breakout rooms yet, but I'm to use it. I might use it this week. You can share whiteboards like Jamboard, Miro. Zoom also has a collaborative whiteboard that I can share and everyone can write on it. No problem with that. And discussion boards that you can have on Trello, on Padlet, etc. It works. Trust me. Now, best practices to keep students engaged during online classes. Some of you asked, Professor Carla last session, how can I like keep my students engaged? I work in a classroom or I work online. And she mentioned the importance of understanding your students' needs, what your student likes. That's when she mentioned the idea of a role play exercises. Well, these are some 8 fun activities for virtual learning. I didn't do this. This was posted by Holly Clark in her webpage, and Matt Miller, ditch.textbook.com. This page has a lot of games to do, has some paid features, some other free features. You should check that out. Now, these are some of them. I used to play that a lot. Yeah, that's really cool. So, would you rather debates to promote speaking? 20 questions the person needs to answer. Movie or Netflix reviews, especially if there is a movie or TV series which became viral because of something, then you can first show your students how to organize their ideas when they are going to talk about give their point of view, whether you like it or not. You give the review, you agree, disagree. Virtual talk shows. This is what Professor Carla mentioned. One of the students pretends to be a famous artist. The rest of the group asks questions. This can also be done in a classroom. This can be done in a classroom. And with this, you can have, for example, the most hyperactive student, because they normally want the attention. That's why they are so hyperactive most of the time. You can have that student receiving the questions from their friends, and they will love the attention. Like, yes, everyone is looking at me. It's my time to shine. Do it. Do it. Hot or not, good or bad, about any topic. 2 truths and a lie, and people need to try and guess the lie. Here you can see how much your students know each other or how much your students know you. I play this or I have this game designed for one of the lessons, the introduction lessons for the elementary level in the English course. And I have 4 sentences about me. And I tell my students from those 4 sentences, there is one false fact about my life. So the student needs to read them, try to guess which one is the false fact, and they need to tell me why they think it's false. So it's another idea to keep them engaged. Doodle together. If you haven't seen what a doodle is, it's basically drawing together. And there are different online apps that you can use or websites where students can start drawing together. So you can have a student start drawing something, then the next student continues the drawing. So you have different styles in the same place, and it's really cool. Sophie says, I did something like that. It was so funny but hurtful. They didn't hit one. Yeah, yeah. But the doodle one is awesome for students who are extremely creative or who love drawing. There you have them. There you have them. PowerPoint brain dump. Like you can just try to tell me different ideas to create different PowerPoint presentation. And I use PowerPoint because it's like the most common, but you know, there is Canva, there is a Prezi, no, I can't remember the name of the other one. I think it's Prezi. And they can also use it. Veggie says there's a platform for that. Gartic phone. I think that's the name for the doodle. Okay, yeah, for the doodle thingy. Yeah, there are different apps that you can use, you can download to have your student do that. Yeah. Now, some examples that I have here. Best practices to keep students engaged during classes. I have compiled these videos. This one talks about gamification, which is the topic of our next class next Saturday, by the way, gamification. And we have talked about this. This teacher, she shows you how to turn a classroom, a real, not online, a classroom activity into a gamified lesson, and students will love it. And this one is the typical girl with the millennial or whatever you guys call yourselves now language. The slay this, slay that, no cap, whatever. Well, she has that language, and some of you will understand her perfectly. I understood like 3 words, but whatever. And she shows how to gamify your learning. Not even your classes, your learning, what to do. So it's really cool. Let's take a look at the first video, which is about gamification. Let me check that I'm sharing the audio. Yes, I am. Let's take a look at this first short video.
Gamification is where you take a boring subject like learning or work and make it more interesting by adding game elements to it. Gamification is easy to do and doesn't cost a lot, so lots of companies and schools are using it to make work and studying more enjoyable. Games like Duolingo help to stimulate players to learn new languages while also giving them rewards to make it fun. Game-based learning is another way to make learning more interesting. It's when you use an existing game to teach a new skill or idea. These games usually have entertainment as their primary goal, but can be repurposed for learning. Games like Minecraft or the Assassin's Creed History Tour. It's a fun way to learn because you get to play a game and learn at the same time. A serious game, though, is designed for a specific purpose: to train a new skill, to raise awareness, to change perceptions. The goal of a serious game is to make the game itself so enjoyable that people will want to play it and learn while they do. This intrinsic motivation makes sure participants don't get bored easily and have fun while they're at it.
When he mentioned the Assassin's Creed storytelling code, I have one of those games, which is based in the old war between Greece and all those countries around. And there's a part where you just experience, you travel to the Parthenon, to all these places which basically don't exist right now. And you talk to Aristotle, you talk to Plato, and they explain the idea. And it's amazing because it's a game. You're controlling your character. In this case, you're killing enemies. And then once you reach the expert, he tells you about the story. It's so cool. And it's gamified learning. Now, this one, take notes. For context, she is a math teacher, not an English teacher. She is a math teacher. And she turned mathematics into a game, into a try to attack my castle game. Take a look at this short video and tell me if this is not an amazing idea that you can do with basically any of your lessons. This is special for those who are still working in classrooms. Take a look at this.
So it's Halloween, but guess what? We are still doing math in my class. We played a fun game called Castle Attack. First 60 seconds, students draw a castle. You can turn any worksheet here into a gamified instruction. Students solve one problem at a time. You randomly call on the group. If they have the answer correct, they get to attack. You will have 15 seconds to solve the question, and then I will be randomly calling on a group. If you answer correctly, you will get to attack 2 other castles. The last castle standing is our winner. Are you ready to play?
You see, they work collaboratively. They have, what they do is to solve a math problem together. They go to the board. If they get the answer correctly, they get to attack the next castle. And you could hear the excitement when she said, if you solve it correctly, you get to attack the other castle. There was a kid like, yes, attack. They love it. You can do that with English classes. If she could do that with math classes, you can do that with English classes. Like you have, and that could also be done for an evaluation. You have some questions, and if a student answers the questions correctly on the board, they get to attack the other group's castle. And nice, maybe have it like you have the castle on the board. You can draw it if you are not good at drawing. I'm talking if you are in a real life classroom. You can draw the castle, or you can like get the parts of a class in the castle so that you can remove them. If the student attacks one part, you remove one part of a castle. If it's online, it's easier because you can just delete or eliminate one part of a castle. It's exciting and children love it. Even teenagers love it. And now is this Slay Girl. Take a look at this one. How to gamify your learning. As a university student, I guess you will love it.
Welcome to the highly requested part 6 of How to Slay Your Grades Gamify Edition, because why waste time studying so much that you sacrifice on these amazing activities? So make studying so much more fun and fast so you can have time for these. Step 1 is to turn your life into an RPG, and this YouTube channel does a really cool job of doing that. They offer resources to make Notion templates that can turn your life into a whole game. Next is checking out these Gamify apps, which make learning so much more fun. And this is a ritual my friends and I do in college during finals week. So similar to a game where you have a reward system, every time we went through 50 slide lectures, we'd reward ourselves by buying popcorn chicken. If this helps, make sure to save this and follow for more study tips.
So that's awesome. They're studying together. So that's what she and her university friends did. You're studying together. So you have, if you went through 50 slides while studying, if you finish first, then you get to have some popcorn chicken, which is extremely delicious. You can do it with any candy you like. I don't know. Now, this one is an activity that I have, and I think I shared it a long time ago with you guys. Anyway, I'll show it again. It's an activity I designed for you to practice present continuous in a gamified way. Let me give you the context and then we go to the game. The idea for this game, first, during your class, this is online exclusively. During your class, of course, you explain the differences in the uses of a future. You explain to your students that will is not used for talking about plans. You explain that a will is used to talk about spontaneous decisions, to talk about things that, hey, I'm not sure, but there is a possibility that will happen. You teach them that you use present continuous when you're talking about a plan that you have already made, something you have already decided. And you can use also future with going to. Once you tell them that which is future we're going to is for those times when you have the evidence that something is about to happen, okay? So let's take a look at this game. Let me unshare this. And now take a look at this. So once you have explained the uses of a future, you start playing this with your students. I did this with one of my groups 2 weeks ago, and they absolutely love it. And I'm talking about adults. Adults. It's a group of 4 adults. The youngest one, how old is Bibi? The youngest one, I think, is 47 years old, I think. The youngest one. And they loved it. So again, context. Uses of a future. You explain to your students what the future is, blah, blah, blah. So, and let me play with you guys. And for those watching this video on the internet, let me play with you as well. This is the page, learnhip.com. You can also design games here. It's similar to WordWall, Now, what happens next is the name of the game. I'm going to show you a short version of a video. And I want you to write on the chat, what do you think is going to happen? This helps you as a teacher to practice structure of a sentence, because normally students forget to use verb to be, and they say, for example, the elephant going to run. The elephant is going to run. Or sometimes students forget to add the ing, and they go like, the elephant is go run. The elephant is going to run. So you can help them so that when you reach video number 10, they already know. Let's play, guys. I'm going to show you the short version, and I want you to write on the chat, what do you think is going to happen next? First video, whenever you want, computer. Come on, don't tell me it's blocked. There you go. What do you think is going to happen? Write down on the chat. I will show you the full version of the video, but I want you to write in the chat. What do you think is going to happen? He's going to fall. The video will finish, but obviously it's going to finish. I want you to tell me what's going to happen, Sophie. He will fall downhill. He's going to do a barrel roll. That man's going to fall and roll. Maybe he can grab it at a time, sorry. He rolls on the snow. The man is going to fall. And you see here, you can also help your students with structure and everything. He will fall. You see, you don't use fall. You use will, sorry. He is going to, because you see the evidence. He's almost like, there is a dog, both will run. Is that a dog? Yeah, Sophie, that's a dog. The man is going where, Becca? He's going to roll down with his puppy. Oh, he's gonna crush the dog? Sophie, come on. I think the dog is pushing him to roll down. He will roll along with the dog. He is going to roll. You don't use will when you have the evidence. You don't use will. Is going to, are going to. Let's take a look at the full version to see what's happening. This is the full version. And yeah, but also. You see, students loved it. Students loved it. Students loved it. That dog weighs more than him. Yeah. Give me that shit. Oh, sorry, YouTube. Okay. Second video. What is going to happen? Look. What is going to happen? Goal, says Hidai. I don't know a thing about football. Yeah, it's good that you recognize it, because he's going to hit a home run. No, that's baseball. Is someone from the public going to run into the field? Might happen? Maybe. I'm not that bad, though. Well, let me show you the full version. This is the full version. So you could say, for example, this was a penalty kick. The goalkeeper stopped the penalty kick. Fernando says the ball will hit on the bar and hit him in the face. That's an option. You see the attacker is coming to finish and score the goal. Let's take a look at the full version. The goalkeeper saved it. Yeah, the goalkeeper saved it. Okay. Third video. What's going to happen? You see? Oh no, Sophie, why do you guys, first thing that comes to mind is the worst outcome possible. Hit the guy. Should we watch this? Look, his dad is holding like the target, supposed to toss it into the air. The kid is gonna be charged with first-degree murder. Kid is going to nail it. He will aim to the center of a target. He's gonna hurt himself, says Maria Guedes. He's gonna hit it. Okay, let's take a look. That says a target. Boom, bullseye. The kid is amazing. And he's looking at a mirror here. He's looking at a mirror, but imagine how many times they rehearsed this. I've seen that video, loved it when I was a kid, yeah. Okay. Fourth video. What do you think is gonna happen? What do you think is gonna happen, guys? The fish is gonna slip of the guy's hands. Tell me a focus steals that fish. Fish is going to say goodbye. Fishes are gonna slip to the water. What Anna says, I think so. The seal, they're gonna throw it into the water. Okay, let's check. Full version. Boom! Not a seal, but a dolphin. A dolphin stole the fish. So that's what happened. And nearly bite the man's hand. A good page to break the ice at the beginning of a class. Of course, of course. This one is awesome. What do you think is going to happen, guys? It's about to... So, it's a magic trick. He'll make a mom pretty angry. Well, in this case, he is going to make a mom. Everything will break. Everything is going to break. Beji says, I have faith. He's going to nail that mantle pole. Okay. The magic trick is going to be successful. Check it out. Full version. And boom. Nice. Nice. He's going to slay. Yeah, girl. He slayed that trick. He slayed that MFer. I wasn't expecting that, but there you go. Yeah. This one is my favorite. I love this one. Look, the concentration. It's table tennis. It's a competition. 19-19. The game is in a draw. What do you think is going to happen? Welcome to Mental Games. What do you think is going to happen, guys? That girl is going to get smacked. Okay.
Teacher, how do you say cachetada?
Slap.
He's gonna slap it. Slap her.
Someone's gonna have their face smacked. I thought the same. He's gonna hit her in the head with the racket. He's gonna hit herself with the ball. Sophie nailed it. Look. Boink. That's the best part. Boink. Hey, look at her face. Look at her face. Look at her face. Now look at the other girl's face. Look at her. Like, that's the best. It's the best. So this is a game you can do to practice the use of is going to, so that your student understands you only use is going to when you have the evidence that something is about to happen. This is a gamified lesson. We will see more on this next class. But it's an idea. And take notes of a website, learnhip.com. Learnhip.com. Something that will happen to me. Yeah, Sophie. And then I will read that on your Facebook page. Okay, yeah, learnhip.com. Take notes because, yeah, it's cool. Okay, let me stop sharing this. Now. Let me share again. So, this is the challenge for you today, guys. Your job is to redesign. So, you're going to choose a common activity. I have already chosen it for you. Your job is to redesign an activity that you would normally use to teach irregular verbs. To teach irregular verbs. Yeah, a repetitive game to practice and describe the image. So, an activity to practice and learn irregular verbs. I want you to apply a project-based or collaborative learning strategy. I will show you another video in a minute. You can use a tool or technique discussed. And I want you to share your plan. This is not the evaluation. This is for doing it now, okay? But give me a second. I'm going to show you a video about the project-based learning. Let me stop sharing this. And now I'm going to share YouTube again. So this 4-minute video will show you some project-based learning strategies and tools. Take notes of them because it can help you guys. It can help you in your classes. So let's take a look at it, and then we go back to the activity. Here we go.
Project-based learning is a learning method in which students identify a real-world problem and develop a solution for it. Students develop new knowledge and skills by working on a bigger project. Hi guys, I'm Lucy from Book Widgets, and in this video I'm going to show you 9 good educational tools that might help you with setting up a project-based learning experience. I've divided these apps into 3 different categories, and the first one is apps for teachers to plan classroom projects. Let's get started. The first tool is Trello. This app gives you a view on all the projects or little tasks that need to be done. Trello lets you create boards with...
Sorry, that's Trello for educational purposes. I show you the corporate purpose. This is educational.
List. You can name the list, add different cards to the list, and add documents, links, comments, checklists, and so on to the cards. You can invite your fellow teachers to the boards with the lists so they can add cards as well. Trello is perfect for setting up project-based learning activities and will keep you organized while planning them. Next up, the planner widget from Book Widgets. This allows you to build a checklist that students have to follow during the complete project. It gives them a clear structure to follow, though they have to go through it independently or in little groups. As a teacher, you can add voice recordings with instructions, and you can add even more interactive exercises to each step of the planner. Those exercises can be worksheets, checklists, surveys, flashcards, videos, and much more. The last tool for this category is Slack. In many cases, a project-based learning activity is covered throughout different courses, so you'll have to find a way to communicate effectively with your fellow teachers. With Slack, communication gets much easier. You're chatting live with other teachers, getting everything done quicker. In the second category, I'll show you apps for students to collaborate on classroom projects. My number one tool for this is Google Docs. With Google Docs, students can work together in the same document at the same time from another device. No more sending files back and forth, no more figuring out which file was the latest. The next app is Lucidchart. Students can create plenty of different diagrams such as flowcharts, mind maps, wireframes, and much more. Of course, students can collaborate with others and work on diagrams together in real time. Padlet, our next tool, is a live pinboard that makes working together on classroom projects easier. You can use Padlet in many ways as a teacher and as a student. You could set up a Padlet board for every group of students working on a project. They can brainstorm on topics and pin ideas and comment on them. They can add links, images, videos, and so on. Sharing thoughts has never been so easy. As a teacher, you can follow up on their ideas and progress instantly and give feedback in the Padlet post comments. In the last category, I'll show you apps for students to create content when doing project-based learning. Are your students very talkative? Then why not let them create a podcast series for a school project? Spice things up and use Spreaker to record a new podcast episode or to stream live. Looks like an amazing digital project. Storybird is the next app. Storybird combines creative tools for writing, reading, and storytelling in educational settings. Students can make their own story, and it makes students of all ages feel like real author and bring their fantasy to life. Just let your students summarize their journey throughout the project and let them write it down in Storybird. And last but not least, Zoom. Let your students host a webinar by giving a presentation about their project. With Zoom, you can invite parents to join in on the webinar. Involving your parents is always a good idea. You're keeping them up to date about this classroom project and they can see what their children accomplished. That's it. I have 10 more apps for you via the link in the description.
I can share the link of this video if you want to, so that you can take notes with like no pressure. Amazing. Nita says she knows some of those. Send the link. Yeah, I'll send it to the group. Don't worry. So let me first close some of the apps I have already opened. So let me repeat what you are going to do. Right now, if my computer doesn't break, I'm going to use the breakout rooms in Zoom, and you will be divided in groups, okay? You will be divided in groups. The idea is for you guys to talk in those groups. You can do it in Spanish, don't worry. You talk inside those groups for 5 minutes. I want you guys to share ideas of games, project-based activities, collaborative learning activities that you have used or you could use to teach irregular verbs in a different way. Okay? So let me start the rooms. Let me see. I hope that my computer doesn't break, but let me see. So participants. Can you repeat, please? Yeah, as I'm trying to do it, I repeat. You will get together in these breakout rooms that I will split in the meeting into. And I want you guys to talk for 5 minutes and share your ideas. What activities, game activities, project-based activities, collaborative learning activities would you use or have you used to teach irregular verbs? Irregular verbs, okay? So bear that in mind. Okay. Come on, man. Let me see if I can first split you guys into groups. Come on, Zoom, allow me to do it. Allow record voting waiting room. Zoom is not allowing me to, which is sad. If I can, we just talk about it. We won't waste our time. But I really want to. No, not full screen. Come on. No. It does not allow me to separate, to split you, sorry, into groups. Wait, let me quickly check something here. Well, anyway, while I'm fighting with my computer and Zoom, think about what I told you guys. What activities or games would you use to teach or work with irregular verbs? Okay. Activities or games to do with to teach irregular games. More docs, notes, whiteboard. Well, at least I can do this. At least I can do this. Share the whiteboard. Can you see the whiteboard, by the way?
Yes.
Perfect. Because for me, it says loading. Refresh.
There are the tests that you've been doing with the...
Yes.
There you are. There. No, because it hadn't appeared. Stop drawing, guys. You're like little kids.
It's not me, it's not me, it's not me.
I know it's not you, but you're like little kids. You're just throwing in.
I'm guilty too. I didn't want it, but I didn't do it.
So the idea is on that board, I want you to maybe share your ideas. And try to put them on the board, your ideas, okay? Not just crazy drawings. I know that you're seeing, so you need to see yes or no. Okay, nice. Whoever is making the sticky note, thank you so much. So you can share the ideas there, guys. I repeat, games that you would use, or you have used, I don't know, to teach irregular verbs. To teach irregular verbs. Thank you so much. Who's doing that? Because Zoom doesn't show me who is designing that. Let me. There you go. Ah, profe, deje de moverlo. That's what she said.
Teacher, give me
Sorry, I had to say it. Tell me.
Give me a moment. I'm fighting with my dog.
It's Sophie. Okay, Sophie, thank you so much. Okay, guys. Thank you so much, Sophie. So let's share ideas, guys. Let's share ideas. Jenny just shared this. She shared an exercise, a link, sorry. We'll check the link in a minute. So game, this or that, example. This is collaborative learning, by the way. This is what we're doing here, and you can do it with your students as well, if you're using Zoom. Don't worry. I'm poor. I can't. Teacher Rexona, don't worry. You can have the slides and one button. Just share the ideas. And they have to pick one quickly, read them out loud. Snakes and ladders. Group 1 versus group 2. I will play charades. Yeah, that's a good one. So you can have one student like doing the mimicry of a verb. The only limiting thing for playing charades is that there are some abstract verbs that you just cannot like use. But normally, yep. Geniali. Oh, you guys love Geniali after you were like, no, teacher, is so complicated. I don't know what to do. It's so complicated, teacher. I don't know what to do. Write down. I'll give you 5 minutes, okay? Write down your ideas, and then we'll talk about it. A mí no me carga nada más, será mi internet. Maybe, Suje, maybe. But you can write it on the chat. For those who cannot see the whiteboard, you can write on the chat. Don't worry. Sorry. I just had lunch. Werewolf. Werewolf is the best. Werewolf is king. Werewolf is the king. It's a lifesaver. Whoever created Werewolf, I love you. Nice. I see you guys are adding the ideas, the names.
I was, lo escribí en español, perdón, ya va.
Don't worry. Nice. So check this out, guys. writing ideas either on the whiteboard or on the chat. This is what you should be doing in your classrooms. Be creative. Be that teacher who makes the difference. That teacher whose students always want to go back to your classes because they know they're going to have a blast during the class. Be that teacher. Be that teacher. Okay, I'll start reading your ideas. Let me start with the chat so that those who are writing on the whiteboard can finish. Suhe mentioned Word Wall. Yeah, it has amazing games for irregular verbs. I'll show you one that I love, by the way.
Live worksheet.
Yeah, live worksheet. Yes. Gonna eat too, don't worry, Jenny. While you finish there, let me quickly look for an activity that I absolutely love in Word Wall. Let me look for the activity. Wait. This one. Yeah. Okay. Let me read the ideas, then I share the word Wall was talking about. So here, sorry. Using Genially, you can create a game using the Uno cards. Like memory cards, they have to find the infinite verb, and then they have to find how the verb changes to an irregular verb. Then they have to build a sentence with that vocabulary. Thank you, dear Nita. Nice. With Uno cards. Yup. Then we have the dice challenge. Can I? Yeah. So the dice challenge. Roll a dice with the dice are with numbers from 1 to 6. Infinitive is 1, 2 is past tense, 3 is past participle, etc. Teacher says a verb and the number indicates which form they should say. Awesome. Really like it. Now let me make it short again. Charades, I said, like bottle cards, Uno type or board games. Snakes and ladders. For every turn, there are verbs to conjugate. Yup, that's cool. And you can also have like roll the dice, and you can advance. Like you can create a board with spaces and numbers. That's cool. The group that conjugates the most verbs wins. You can also have some of those spaces where they have to create a sentence with the verb. That's another one. It's not just changing the verb, it's also using the verb in a context. Games, group 1 versus group 2, divide the groups in red and blue. Students should write verbs in pieces of papers of these colors. Visual stories, verb chains. I can't see the screen. Yeah, don't worry, so don't worry. But I'm just reading it, and you can just look for the video of the class on this part, and it shows the board.
If you want, I can explain what visual stories means and about the group about group 1 and versus 2 means. Okay, the first activity should consist in group 1 and group 2. This will be later or after the explanation about the verbs. I will give them some specific verbs, and one group will be irregular verbs and other group would be regular verbs. So I will say the verb in Spanish, and they will have to translate the verb and like run until me, and if they say correct, they win. It's a point for
Oh, nice.
it's a
Oh,
point
that's
for the
cool.
group.
And students love competing. So
Yes. This will be
okay.
for teenagers and also for kids. And why not
Okay.
adults?
So escape room digital, nice. Create an escape room on Genially, Google Sites, or the Candy, where the clues are irregular verbs. To advance, they must complete the correct forms. Yeah, that's amazing. With escape room, now that you know how to do it, you will only get out if you spell the past tense or fly correctly. Awesome idea, combining what I told you of the escape room and this. Okay, so let me stop this. And guys, from you, who maybe knows a lot about, I mean, who knows, not that knows a lot about, sorry, who is good with the simple past, like regular or irregular verbs? I'm so sorry, Sophie. I think I read it. I think I read it, Sophie. I was rowing. So sorry. I wrote two more. Ah, sorry. Sorry.
I was going to make a screenshot.
Don't worry. Guys, who wants to play a word wall game of simple past, regular and irregular verbs? Who wants to play? One of you that knows regular verbs. I want to, but don't judge me if I get something wrong. Okay, are you on your computer? This guy, okay, Fran, my dear Fran, are you on your computer, Fran? Because I need you to be able to use a mouse. It's faster with a mouse. No, on my phone, no, it's gonna be really complicated. Veggie, you're on your computer. Oh, okay, Veggie, do you have a mouse that you can use, of course? Oh, okay. So this is a game, guys, and this is another template that you have on WordWall. Have you seen this game where you have to smack the moles on the head? Moles is topos, by the way. So this is a guacamole game, okay, guacamole game with I hate those. So the idea here is the mole will show up and your job, Veggie, is to hit the mole that has the correct answer, the correct form of a verb, regular or irregular. So Veggie, I'm going to give you control of a mouse. Once I give you control of a mouse, you will click here where it says iniciar and you start the game. Remember, just click on the moles. Let me give you control of a mouse. Participants, where is Veggie? Veggie. Okay, Veggie, I'm going to give you control of a mouse, okay?
Okay.
Oh, sorry. No. Let me, I messed it up.
Usted es el anfitrión ahora. Ajá, sujétense.
No, sorry. It can be that way because if I do it that way, I won't be able to share the page. Wait, let me share the page again. Whenever you want, computer. Thank you. Let me try again. Remote control. Now, where is Veggie? Here. Maria Laura Veggie. Okay, Veggie. Click on your mouse. Nice. Go, Veggie. No! In the past, in the past.
Okay. Ay, no me da darle clic. No, esa no. Me puse nerviosa, no. Beginner, yo. Uh-uh. Semilla. Qué risa.
Okay, so
Oh
40
my
points.
God.
Okay, let me gain control again. Okay, 14 points. Anyone else wants to play? Moles.
Yo quiero jugar.
Okay, do you have a mouse, María Daniela?
Yes, I have one.
Ya, el pensamiento intrusivo yendo al ITED. Pensamiento intrusivo. Yeah, the game is really cool, and mostly children, they love it. Okay. María Daniela, I'm gonna give you control. Let me first.
No, ya me dio pena, profe, otra persona, ya, pasé pena. Listo, no, ya.
I can try.
Okay, Fernando, let me give you control. Give remote control to. Where is Fernando on the list? Fernando. Okay. Fernando, when you click, you get control of the mouse and click on volver a empezar. Iniciar, and there you go. Yeah, it is Sophie, but Fernando missed it. Fernando missed it, yeah. Nice. Okay, so this is, let me stop sharing. That's another engaging activity for online purposes. That's on Wordwall, and that's amazing. I love that. That's why I love Wordwall so much. So, guys, for our next class, oh, wait, I forgot to share this so that we can talk about this quickly. Now, I want you to, before we finish, tell me, because it's time to reflect. What were your challenges and your obstacles during this activity? What challenges did you face, or what challenges have you faced while redesigning activities? What strategies did you choose and why? How do you think your students would respond to one of the games that I showed you today? The moles, maybe to using Padlet, maybe to the role-playing games. I would like at least three of you to, who has microphone, of course, like three of you to talk, and only three because we have not much time. They will go crazy, says Sophie. Okay. So, who wants to talk about your experiences, your previous experiences, or how do you think your current students will react to these type of adaptations of games, like to this turning your classes into games. Who wants to talk? Nita says, I don't know, they're kind of close, but they're new with me. Sophie says she only has one student and she'll go crazy. Okay, Jackson?
Okay, I was activating the microphone. Sorry. They are. My group is small. They are just five, but six. But they are like 100. But they are very competitive. So I think they will love this activity. But online, I don't know. It will be a little complicated because they are only 5 years, 6 years.
6 years old.
So I will adapt it. I would adapt it in face-to-face classes. So they would love it.
Yeah, face-to-face classes will be better. Especially if you do like the tip I showed you of a mathematics teacher.
Of course.
Turned the class into a game. That would be amazing. Maria Daniela?
Well, you know that my students are like children.
Be careful because this is being recorded and this will be posted on YouTube.
They're children. They're like children and they love like big noses and like saltar y esas cosas. No actúan como adultos todavía.
They don't act their ages.
Like One Direction song. I don't know. They love that game maybe because they are so competitive between them. So maybe I do that game with them because it's a way to see how they understand my class.
And it's a different way to not evaluate, like to see whether they understood the content or not. It's a better way because if they can play using the knowledge you were trying to convey, then they learned. Sophie's asking, how do you pronounce noticeable? Noticeable, Sophie, noticeable. Why? Okay. Okay, guys, so there you go. Thank you, Fernando. Noticeable. Noticeable. There you are. Noticeable. Well, that's in British. Noticeable. Noticeable. Mystery solved. Okay, guys. So for our next class, we are going to have we're going to go like to the deep roots of the gamifying of lessons. So please, I want you guys, let me write it down on the chat so you can see it. I want you to, if you want to like prepare for the next class, please look for information on the topic I've just written down on the chat. Gamification. Gamification. We're gonna work with that. That's our next class next Saturday. Okay. Gamification. What you do, what you did, Sophie says that you suffered, but in genuinely, that's gamification. But now we're going to dive deep into it, understand how we can do it, what tools do we have online. We have talked about most of them already, but I want you to just to read information. You don't need to send anything. You need to send me anything. You need to prepare anything. Just read information, or if you don't want to read, there are literally thousands of YouTube videos talking about gamification. Today we saw a video, the guy explaining gamification in different aspects. That's a short video from YouTube. So watch videos like those so that you have an idea of what gamification is, what tools you can use. Either way, we're going to work with that next class. For those who are having the other subject with me, the AI in education, remember, in an hour approximately, we will have Professor Maria Eugenia Donan with us. She's a colleague, and she will be talking about ChatGPT. It's an awesome class for you to join. If you know friends who have used or want to know how to use ChatGPT or want to learn how much you can do with ChatGPT, tell them to join. Share the link. You know I like people to join, as long as they are respectful, of course. And I'll be seeing most of you in an hour, others next Saturday, okay? Well, have a nice afternoon. See most of you in an hour and the others next Saturday, okay? Bye-bye, guys.